whatever it might be. They're going to get high-speed internet. They're going to get clean electricity. You know, chiefs, people here in Toronto don't understand how it is to live on diesel, rely on diesel. We're going to give them clean energy that they can not have to rely on diesel. They don't have to be landlocked anymore. The youth don't have to be landlocked anymore as well. So we're opening, blazing new trails for opportunities for the First Nations communities.
This will be the last reporter.
Premier Jean-Louis Dudard with Radio-Canada. On the Ontario Science Centre, I saw the new design last week you unveiled. What's your vision for the old Ontario Science Centre, and does it include a new convention centre?
Well, that's good. No, not at all. That's a very difficult site. It's actually owned by Toronto. So the land is owned by Toronto. They can do what they want. But if I were them, it's right on a main transit line. Start building attainable homes. That's what I would do. But isn't that design unbelievable? It's just spectacular, and the convention center is going to be exactly the same. And we have a few other announcements moving forward.
And this one might be more for the Minister of Energy and Mines, but on the Crawford deposit, you know, this deposit has been around for many decades, and no major company has started drilling for decades. So what makes you so confident that development will go ahead on this one?
Because up until our government came in, we were the second slowest permitting jurisdiction in the entire industrialized world. We just put that into context. Investors are around us. If the flow of capital will ultimately go to the path of least resistance, if we are so inconsistent and lack predictability on the permitting timelines, why would any government or rather business invest in this province? Look at the metrics. We went from the second slowest in the OECD to one of the very fastest in the G7 because we have transformed permitting in Ontario. Relentless in the pursuit to cut it by at least 50%. A 24-month turnaround time as our benchmark average. The European Union, post-President Trump, is at 27 months. We are faster, more nimble, and we have put the resources in place to get to yes. Also, many of the former considerations that we didn't have the power in the ground. We didn't have the transmission. We didn't have the generation. There are chiefs with us right here who are leading net new hydro for the first time in Ontario in a decade because Ontario's integrated energy plan secures net new power for the north. They have an 81% demand forecast. That's higher than Southern Ontario. So we're building transmission. I think about the Greenstone line, the Sudbury to Barrie line, the Sudbury to Sault Ste. Marie line. I mean, we're talking about 1,800 net new kilometers of transmission, the largest in a generation, because unlike the former Liberal government that intentionally had a policy to keep our resources in the ground, be under no illusion, we weren't second last by accident. We were second last by design. Because it's either you stand by ethical resources or you don't. And there are 70,000 workers that could deploy this province if we can unlock the Ring of Fire. There are 100,000 in the energy space just by nuclear alone. 45,000 direct and indirect within the mining space, and many more to come. So my point is, this is Ontario's moment to be ambitious and to get things done. And if there's one thing that the Premier is intimating to you all, to the investors, 127 nations with us, it's be under no illusions. We are going to be relentless in challenging the status quo to build the confidence that nickel, a critical mineral that is needed by the Americans, needed by the Europeans for defense applications, but they ultimately need to move with speed. And the Western world's largest deposit is under our feet. So either we can let the Chinese own dominated mines of Indonesia or Africa to prevail, where there are precisely no human rights standards, or we, the gold standard on earth, can step it up. And that's what this is about. And Premier, if you permit me, I know Mr. Prairie has been very outspoken on this issue. And sir, I'd like to turn it over to you.
First and foremost, this is the world's largest resource for nickel. 4 billion tons of nickel. There's only one small deposit of nickel in the States, and it's processed in Sudbury. The demand forecasts for nickel show an over 100% increase in demand for nickel. The nickel that's being supplied in the U.S. right now comes from Indonesia, that's powered by coal, financed by China, and the tailings goes to the ocean. Where do you want that nickel to come from? You want that nickel to come from Ontario. That's why we're doing this. Every single thing we're doing is to grow the economy in Ontario, on a large part, because it's here at this convention, with mining. With mining. We are under attack right now by Trump's tariffs. That's what this is all about. Getting those projects out the door quicker to repopulate our treasury that might be and is being attacked by the auto sector. That's the future we have in full cooperation with the indigenous communities. Take a look at Crawford Nickel. The partnerships are with the indigenous people. They're building the transmission lines. We know what we're doing, we know how to do it, and that's why mining in Ontario, in Northern Ontario, is the best in the world.
He is the smartest. I'm not just saying this, the smartest person in mining. He's been around since before Moses when it comes to mining, but the smartest none. And I told him the other night, I think last night when I called him, I said, George, I learned so much off you. He's been in every single level, every single mining board. The guy's incredibly smart. So thank you, George, for hitting a home run. That ball's still going across Lake Ontario. Folks, thank you for coming to Ontario. I want to thank our First Nations partners, and I want to thank all the investors here. Come and invest in Ontario. Ontario is open for business. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.